there is actually in the Museum of the Information Centre, there are blocks of like shell concrete. So they've used the shells to make it into concrete because of how compacted they get after they've been crunched up, and then more shells to squeeze it in tight to turn it into this really hard compact surface, and they turn it into bread. So yeah, I don't understand why they do it, but that's the rules, so I guess so. But I actually, in a moment, I'll bend down and pick up some of the shells you can see. And so it's actually kind of loose, the shell. So you can easily just grab a handful, and you'll see the fact that there are whole ones, but there is also a lot of where it's been already squished and almost turned into grit to sand, so much so that you can sort of feel it trickling through your hands as you let it go, which it's just amazing that it, I don't know how it developed this way, where the entire, like when you see the vision, where I pan around and you see the entire beach area, including the beach behind and around us, all that white is not sand, it is pure shell. You can dig a hole and you'll just be digging through shell. There's nothing else there than shells. Yeah, it's honestly, it's a crazy place, but I think the shells themselves, because they are so white, make it look really beautiful. I think personally, nice white sand, and then that beautiful open turquoise water. The only downside obviously is because it's so hard. It's not something you would want to put your towel on and sunbathe on, that's for sure. It's more just a tourist place. You go there, have a look out of interest, because it's part of the heritage listed areas, so it's obviously well worth viewing for the view and the experience, and because it's a significant environmental impact, and yeah, you'd be disappointed if you missed it altogether. So once I finished, we've only got about 2 minutes before we finish up here, so I apologise again. This video I have has been split into 2 sections, so you'll hear me talking and there might be a break, so you'll have to jump to part 2 to finish, because I've recorded this audio separately because it just wouldn't work while I was running the video. So if there's a little bit of a lag between when the video chops in half and we get a part 1, part 2, I apologise for that. It's just the entire video with everything that we did and saw, and what I wanted to bring back for you guys to see. So you got a virtual tour of that whole southern region of Denham. Not around to Steep Point yet, that's on the cards coming up, but just so you guys could be able to see that sort of environment. I think something when we're not able to get there, but also give us an idea of some of the places you can go and see and how much there is to do up there. We thought 7 days would have been enough time, but with everything we've been doing and seeing, we've now thought that we probably didn't give ourselves enough time to enjoy the amount of varying areas and different scenes and different sights to see. Now, this area I head off towards, because there's lots of tracks, there's that you can take off to the left hand side, and some of them are official, but they're all around. Now, forgive my pronunciation. I would pronounce it Goulet Bluff. So it's spelled Goulet. That's how I pronounce it. So I basically decided I wanted to explore some of the full just tracks through there, which was all firm sand. So you didn't need to deflate your tyres. I just wanted to go and view that whole area, explore some of the various tracks around that whole bluff section, and see what was there. At one stage I get down onto, because you can go, there's also places to camp, but you can get out onto the beach, but because of those strong winds it would be virtually impossible to fish in that sort of area, literally. Plus I think in this one there's quite a bit of seaweed. After this we head to Fowler's. Now this one's another one where I've got to pronounce it correctly. Fowlers. Flowers. That's how I pronounce it anyway. Now this is where things get kind of fun. I do speed up this the time of the video, so you don't have to watch the entire drive in out from where we were back onto the road and then down into that camping area. But you can see when we get down to the beach, it's an odd beach because it does have that shell, those shell areas as well. So it can be very hard. So there's a section when you first get down off the topper section onto the beach flat area. It's pretty much like hard rock, and then you can it's sort of like a little dip and then an incline. You'll be able to sort of I'm just trying to think how well the video of the dash cam captures it, but there's a little bit of a dip where water comes around from the bay area and comes into where all the what looks like a bit like seagrassy, weedy colour stuff, and then there's a hill which is hard as rock shell formation, and that dip is also very firm, which was quite surprising. So when you watch the videos, we go down to it because I pretty much hit it momentarily. So the problem was as I came to turn around, I made an error in my judgment of looking at the exit, because at this stage I hadn't bothered deflating the tyres because we were just looking at the hard surfaced areas, and as I went to turn around, you could easily see why it was hard to the left where it come in. There were tracks off to the right hand side of where I ended up driving over, which someone chose to drive through. Funnily enough, you could stand, say, a couple of metres both left and right of the vehicle where it's bogged, and you'd be standing on a firm surface. But if you go towards where the car is, it's almost like quicksand, where it sucks you down into it, and when you try and pull your foot out because of that water and mud, it sort of grips it and holds it down and in. I'd actually take my shoes off because they were getting stuck in the mud just trying to get my foot out. So that's how soppy and soft that was. And Lord, it stank. It was a putrid smell. So I spent ages, because I went to drive, and I got within less than a metre of the harder section before it started to slow down. I realised we were going to get stuck. Not realising it, and this is an error of my own part, not realising that if I just at that point had just chucked 2 max tracks under my front wheels, I would have been able to pop myself out and onto the hard stuff at that point. And you can sort of see in some of the pictures that come up later, where you look from the view from the front, you can see the tracks where I've driven forward and then stopped and then driven backwards. Because normally on beach services, I would, if I'm about to get stuck, I would, once I got stuck, if it's soft sand, you sort of try and rock your vehicle back and forward to firm it up, and then gather that momentum and get out. So in this case, doing very similar type of work, I did drop down into a 4-lane, put diff lockers and everything on. But once I'd reverse back, I had reversed basically back and sunk us in, and I ended up having to spend hours doing an incredible amount of digging just to be able to clear some of it out, because it was a bottom out is an understatement, because it was on that shell grip. That was so hard, it just doesn't move. Shoveling it required so much effort just to try and loosen it up first, to be able to then get it out from underneath the vehicle, to try and attempt to recover it. So I spent a long time digging out underneath that whole area, and deflate the tyres to try and get out. The first attempt at trying to get out with just an extract, I don't think I cleared enough out the way, and because the bog has a tendency to keep sucking you down, it was making it even harder than normal to get out. And unfortunately, one of our members, Stephen, was in the area up at Shark Bay anyway, and we were able to get in touch, and he came down, and with the help of the winch, gave it that extra little bit of grunt that it needed to free itself. And you can see in quite a lot of the videos, and the pictures, and even the videos, some of the images, not only of that whole area, but also we're looking at the car. Once I get out, I go back and I actually stand where the wheels are sitting or were sitting. I will try and walk through that area. You can see both in the pictures and there's a short video there where you can see I'm actually walking through the tracks that my vehicle was sitting in, so you can tell how deep it was, up to my knees. That's how deep it was in. So yeah, not the best. You can see the piles of dirt that are up that I've had to dig from left and right to try and get out. It's just one of those things where it's a learning experience, and also a good reminder just to make sure the surface you're about to go over is solid enough for the weight that you've got. And yeah, most of the time you can judge it, and that's why I use the tracks. And I'm just disappointed I just didn't just go forward and not end up in the position we were in. Last thing you want to be doing is spending hours digging out crap from underneath the car. But hey, it was something that I'll remember for quite some time. Yeah, as you can see, heaps of sand, dirt. But you can also see my tracks where I did the turn. That section of it, that section there where that turn happened, was hard as rock. I was jumping up and down there and I couldn't make it budge. And like I said, just a few metres both left and right of where we were was also solid. So just goes to say you just could be unlucky and get in that sloppy spot. And then that tide came in, and that was when it was time to put the emergency button into order and stop trying to self-recover and get that assistance. And sometimes that's all you need. So I think this is wrapping it all up. And I just want to thank you all for listening and tuning in for our journey down here. And new one will be coming up with the fishing from today with some of the best underwater footage of some fish, stingrays, moving around, whiting, moving around, some were even jumping, all sorts. But it's just bloody fantastic. So I'll be putting that together tomorrow, and hopefully uploading it soon. So thanks for tuning in. Stay subscribed, and I hope you guys get out there and catch some fish too, or go out and have some fun forward driving. Thank you again, and I'll see you on my next video. Thank you.